Yeah, like I said, if you were to ask 100 financial advisors, hey, should I convert my traditional IRA into a Roth IRA? I'd probably argue to say 98 of them would go, yeah, you should definitely consider doing that. If you've got the cash in the bank to pay the tax bill, you should consider converting your traditional to a Roth, because when it's in a Roth, you no longer pay tax on the distributions, and you avoid a required minimum distribution. And our current federal deficit's $32 trillion, and these government officials are spending money like drunken sailors, and the IRS is an acronym for I rob seniors, and we're going to have to keep increasing taxes, and if you convert it to a Roth now, taxes are on sale. I could almost do that radio bit if you want me to. Do you want me to like tell everyone to convert to a Roth? And it sounds good, right? There's a guy who wrote a book like The Power of Zero, and his whole thing is like, put it all in a Roth or put it all in life insurance. The problem with that mentality is you're not taking into consideration two incredibly important things. One is staring at you right in your face. What is your current effective tax rate? Not your marginal tax bracket, your current effective tax rate. And for most individuals that we plan with, and these are millionaires, these aren't like below the poverty line type people, they might live off of 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe as much as $10,000 a month. And most of them don't have major debt burdens, so they paid their house off. And I gotta tell you, if you've got like $6,000, $7,000 a month hitting you on the head every single month after tax, and you don't owe any banks a nickel, you are gonna live and go to restaurants and read menus left to right and travel as much as you want and spoil grandkids to the hilt. You will not want for very much. So typically, of course, and I'm gonna assume you have a standardized deduction, right? Which right now under Trump is $27,000 especially if you're over the age of 65. Now, that is sunsetting at the end of 2024, so something to keep in consideration. But my guess is if it sunsets, then people will just go back to itemizing again and writing off all kinds of stuff that we once were able to write off, and now we're unable to do that. So if you have a household income of about $70,000 a year, right? After you take your standardized deduction, after you take into consideration that some of that income is Social Security income, my guess is your effective tax rate is only 10 to 15%. So you're only paying, if you're paying 10% effectively and your income's $70,000, you're paying $7,000 a year in taxes. So your effective tax rate's 10%. But with a $70,000 income, you are very comfortably in a 22% marginal bracket, right? And actually, I don't even think you're all the way at that marginal bracket quite yet, but you're very close to that marginal bracket of 22%. That tells you this: every dollar you convert from a traditional IRA into a Roth IRA is going to cost you 22%. Why on earth would you pay 22% on your IRA today if your effective tax rate's only 10 or 15%? It doesn't make any sense. The only way you could justify that is if you think tax rates are going to double. Now, here's the second thing I think you're not taking into consideration. The government has shown no ability to tax people based on the assets they have. The government taxes people based on their income. So we work with droves of multimillionaires, and when you read their 1040 tax return, their income is $100,000 and less. So $100,000 income. Think of that person if they weren't a retiree and they were a working family. That might be a husband who is a police officer and a wife who is a teacher. Do you think those are the people that the government is going to come after aggressively to alleviate us of the tax burden? Even the most progressive left-leaning liberals are not even floating around ideas of raising taxes on those people. all you hear out of the far left right now is we need to tax the billionaires. We need to tax the corporations. We should consider means testing things. So this idea that I'm going to convert my traditional IRA at a 22% rate when my effective rate's 10 or 15, in my opinion, is incredibly flawed.